Hi, guys, and welcome back to a very special episode of Thunderstream. Today, we have in the studio here with me, in the flesh, the Chief Creative Officer of War Thunder and Gaijin, Kirill Yudintsev. Hi, Kirill.
Hi, guys.
How are you doing? I know you just did 1 hour, full hour of tough questions on a Russian live stream, so now you're doing yet one more hour.
Yeah, I hope I'll try to answer a bit more questions. I was not ready.
It was tough.
I just was not ready to answer in a blitz mode to try answer more questions than to answer detail in them.
Okay.
But my English is not that good as my Russian, so it probably will be easier to answer shorter.
All right, good. Okay, guys, we're going to be taking questions from our website. We have a special thread on at warthunder.com. It's called Gaijin CCO Kirill Yudintsev Answers Tough Questions. So basically, we're going to be picking whatever most liked questions are available over there. Also, we have some questions, frequently asked questions from the community. We have like 35 of them. Plus, we're going to be taking some questions directly off YouTube and also Twitch. So wherever you guys are, we're going to be able to get your questions out. Okay, so let's just get on with it. So the first question from the website, asked by Shredder JR, is this. When did you delude yourselves into thinking that implementing top-tier premiums was a good idea?
Mm-hmm. Tough question. So the implementing top tier, maybe not. We're usually not making, in most cases, not making the toppest tier premiums. We're just making tier pre-top tier premiums, and the idea is for new players that want to try new gameplay style, because top tier, they're not just top, they're different in the gameplay style, the jets, the modern tanks, and so on. So we are making pre-top tier premiums for players to make them easier to start with what they want, if they're able to spend money. So it's not the idea of how to change the progression to make vehicles more by money or something like that. It just wait for new players, newcomers to play on what they want. Easy make them to play on what they want.
Makes sense. And second question, second most liked question on the website is by Kasim Krab. I have the toughest question of all. Well, we'll see to that. Why is it even whenever the community says they don't like something, you guys still do it anyways and make it worse than before? The field engineer events just look like a blatant cash grab and extortion scheme from our end. Why do you guys continue to use repair cost as a balancing factor when it's clear the community wants that gone?
Oh, and probably better to split to three questions.
Yeah, that's three.
So, in fact, that's not true for the first question. When community says they don't like something, we usually do something with that. There was tens of times when we remove features that we presented to community after their feedback, or even after they hit production. Main server. So it's basically not correct. But another answer for that question is that because most of features that we are making are made based on some players' feedback. So if we are making something based on players' feedback, it probably means that some players, maybe we are not good in implementing the idea or concept, but maybe it's not how all players like, but we made it because some players provide us some feedback. So we need for them, not maybe for them who are not like the something, but for them who wanted something or who want some changes. It basically comes not from make something and then certain and detailed explanation of what something. It's basically what players don't like, and we are trying to figure out how to, or maybe what they like more, and we trying to reduce the uncomfortable level of something or make it something them that they like more solid, more active. So that's first question, and basically the answer is that's not how we are making anything, any decisions. The field engineer event. So the field all events are basically not mandatory. They are optional. So it's we are not. Sometimes we are not satisfied with, for example, with players' feedback and the results. For example, last field engineer, not all, but last field engineer event have some things that we better change, and we will do. But all events are optional. You are not mandatory,
not obliged.
So don't play.
Okay.
So, but we are making them for some players. There are players who are playing much more than other players, and if you are making something that easy to get for players that are playing, let's say 4 hours a week, then it makes completely like a automatically gained for players who are playing 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
So why do guys continue to use repair cost as balancing factor? We are not using repair cost as balancing factor. Repair or what it depend what means balancing factor. Repair cost is something that is in balance with the rewards and risk. So if you're making something that is completely otherwise, there will be vehicles that are there are always vehicles that are less risky, and that means that playing on them you will get if all rewards will be the same and repair cost will be the same, it means that you're playing on them you will get more than you are playing on other vehicles. So until you get a reward for something like a spawn, I don't know. So we are making a risk-reward balance. So you are playing on a vehicle that gets more, can get more, or gets more in some players' hands than other vehicles. You get more repair cost. So it's to make a game balance in what vehicle types do you see in the game, because otherwise there will be lots of players that prefer to play on a more less risky in terms of reward or more or other way. So it will reduce variety of the vehicles in the game.
Okay, thank you very much for that. The next one is the number 3 by Grant Tanvir. It's not really a question per se, it's more of a comment. I hope BR decompression and constant up tiers are one of them. So basically, he wants to know, what do you think about
BR decompression?
Yeah, BR and up tiers, yeah.
Well, up tiers will end someday. It's not much on them left. So yeah, they will end. About BR decompression. Well, it's a good question. In fact, it's better than what was in the Russian sections war, because they asked about BR spread, but BR decompression is more correct term. The reason why we have current, matching is that our matching is mostly about what vehicles can you meet in the battle. Mm-hmm. That's the only one number, BR, is responsible for that, but it means something different for different vehicles, because when you are seeing BR, for example, 5 on US tank, that doesn't mean the same that BR5 on German or Soviet tank, because that means that USA tank usually meets German or Soviet tanks, not USA tanks. Mm-hmm. So that means different. We even thought of implementing and made it actually in the game, matching based on vehicles you can meet with just tables, what you can meet in the game, but it's not only harder to balance, manually, or to make a match by QE or matching QE, but it's also much harder to understand what you will meet, because when you're thinking only about one number, you can remember it easily. What I will meet on this tank, seeing its BR number, you understand at least approximately what he will meet. But seeing just a table, it will require much to remember. So the current BR decompression is not decompression, BRs and BR settings and BRs spread is made of what we think it better to meet in the game. If you meet only the vehicles like yourself, I mean exactly, it will be boring. So you have to meet, and vehicles are not the equal in terms of gameplay, of skill, of everything. So of effectivity. So if will always be vehicle that are I mean, if we are making realistical vehicles like we do in the War Thunder, there will be vehicles that are basically better in some cases or in all cases than yours, but maybe quite comparable. So if we are making ideal balance, I mean ideal in terms of competitivity, it will be your tank against the same tank. Otherwise, you will meet better tanks and worse tanks. And if it will be not enough tanks, not enough vehicles. I mean, not only tanks, of course, but not enough vehicles. That means that you will meet the same tanks, vehicles, ships, planes, each battle. That makes games not only less variety, but also it makes it can make it more imbalanced. I understand that it sounds controversial, but your vehicle can be in certain conditions can be the worst. If there are not enough in actual gameplay, in actual battles, will be just your vehicle the worst one. It's already happening, but the less vehicles you can meet in the battle, the more often it will be happening.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And the next one is by patent 3333. That's quite a nickname. Do you have any plans on changing vehicle BRs instead of raising or lowering their repair costs?
We answered that.
Yeah, we kind of answered that already. As well as fixing the horrible netcode in aircraft that causes half the guns in the game not to function properly. It is probably the largest reason I haven't been playing the game every night. So the netcode for aircraft weapons.
The netcode is always difficult to implement, especially when you are talking about physical, like maybe not Holy Grail, but something like that, but physical things. Shooter can have, in most cases, some easier way to mitigate lag and make game, like more fair. I don't know the correct word. So, but the actual problem is that you're seeing on your screen is not that is actually happening on the server, of course, because you have luck and other players also have luck. So netcode can be done different ways, and it's not the correct time to answer that. But so it's horrible. It will be in some cases for some cases, but it can be awesome for other cases, and that's it for fun. Believe me, there are lots of people who, in game development, who thought that War Thunder has brilliant ideas and netcode for some situations, for some challenges, but we also have some plans for, I don't know what you're exactly talking about, because there are lots of different corner cases and like compensation and things like that. So I understand that only that you're not damaging something, but or maybe you are damaged too often, I don't know. But there are the most thing we can improve is we have many improvements of especially guns and air battles in the past, last 2 years. But we also have some ideas to improve it more for the players who are fighting against players with a bad latency. Not when you have bad latency, but when you're fighting against others with a bad latency. It can be improved, and we are going to improve it.
All right. Before we continue reading off questions from the website, we have a special question from a YouTuber, Fly Daily. So it goes like this. Can we please look into a game mode where a team defends and one team attacks, and you push through a map to different areas during the battle while your team has a set number of spawns, etc.? A possible new game mode. What do you think about that?
It sounds... there are games with quite similar...
Yeah. Quite a few of them, actually, with just pretty much the same game mode.
Yeah, so it sounds fun, but the suggested... having much of game mods that are in a random battles is not good, because players that don't like specific game mode will just leave. And also different game modes usually requires different gameplay styles and vehicles, so they can be not best for. So it's having very specific gameplay modes is not ideal for the random battles. It's better for events when you understand what you are going to play. That's first of all. So that's the reason why we do not have lots of game modes in a random battles. There are also popular questions: will you make only tank game mode with only tanks? That's the in fact goes to the same reason. Having them in a random battles will split.
We'll just divide the player base. Yeah.
And if you will make it random appearing in a common, it will make changes in how they will leave on trying to get what they want, or they will be not enough ready with not good vehicles for them to play in the mod. So we want to make all game mods, as we are players and we like them, but we also want to play a game with real players, with not tens of minutes of waiting queue and so on. So in fact, it's not even happening when you have too much waiting time. Players just leave the game, not wait. So returning to the suggestion, this game mode requires more team work. And that's also always a problem for random battles,
because you don't know these people. They're
and
random.
and they probably don't care about you, or they also do not care about the mission objective and so on. So it's still not most of problems can be mitigated, and it's still not that different from we also have sometimes some day before I don't remember the English term for the mod that, with the
по-русски скажи, я переведу.
Breakthrough. Короче, прорыв, когда там двигалась карта.
Oh yeah, the breakthrough game mode where the map was moving.
And that required. Maybe we were not good enough to implement it, or mission objective, to show mission objective and for players, but it was not liked by players. So they found it not confusing mostly. And that's quite the same idea. Not maybe the same implementation, but the same idea. So we won't make different mods. We want the specific mod, but
they're mostly suited for events.
Yeah, and will we be able to make it good, or will we able? I can answer. It's we are always experimenting, in fact.
All right, Fly, I hope that answers your question there. The next one is pretty funny. Your cold eyes scare me. First of all, I don't think your eyes are cold, but it's a funny one. Okay, now next up is renamed 99495. Hi, he had a naughty name there because he got renamed. Anyway, replace German DDR BMP1 with Bundeswehr BMP A1A1 to avoid copy pastas. Why is that? That's one of the most liked questions too.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. The console will decide your fate. The console will decide your fate. What console? What fate? Whatever. Okay. Next up is Destroyer 5 million. He's got a question. Number one is actually has 4 questions. You want to answer all of them?
You missed speed fly.
Really? He's not here on my screen. See, he's not here. Just he's not.
Is a community
Okay.
we need to present.
Yeah, we got a question by Spitflyer. Let me read that real quick. Let me get that microphone. Okay. As a community, we need to present a united voice towards Gaijin, so I suggest we brainstorm some common ideas to get behind to ask about. Some things we could talk about are, number one, servers. Will we get Australia and Oceania LATAM servers? Can we relieve issues such as sparks and ghost shells with higher tick rate servers? Number two, maps. Why are some are usable in Campy and others lack cover? Will these issues be addressed? And finally, number three, BR decompression, particularly helis and high tier. Well, you already kind of answered that, so. All right, here we go.
Well, maybe particular to Heli, so we can something more. So I'll try with the first one. Service. Will we get? We have made Oceania service in the. With the past, it splits audience, and there are not enough players for them to make QE. So it requires QE enjoying. It not requires it. After players don't want to wait too long, and they're waiting too long and not a prime time, and so they just leave it, and that's spoils the whole game for them and others because they can play on a different servers. So we have made it, but it's not in the past, but we removed it. So no, we are not planning to make it in the near future. It's not anyhow technical question or any other or financial, but it's just because there are not enough players. Can we relieve issues such as shells with a high? No.
Okay.
No, we can. Because sparks and ghost shells is happening because of lack, because of latency, not because of higher or slower tick rate. All shells are simulated each meter of distance of the trajectory, so it's not the question about tick rate. So maps. Why are some maps unusable in Campy and others look cover? Well, level designers want to make different maps like it in the real world, different battlefields. So some are more abusable and campy, and others not. So we are trying to make them, it's in fact somehow correlated with the question before of game modes. Map is also part of the game. It's also, and when we are making different. Not long time before, we implemented likes and dislikes and bans and map selected, and there are also some, inspiration from that. There are maps, for example, that are very disliked, but in the same times the other players like it and wanted to play it more. So different. We are trying not to make at least maps not very abusable, and at least spawns should be covered, and there should be some ways to play it on all vehicles. But maps should be different, because otherwise, why we need more maps? We always obviously will have 10, maybe enough will be for one gameplay style. Bear compression, we answered that.
Yeah, we already answered that. Okay. I know why I didn't see the question, because when we loaded the page a couple of minutes ago, it wasn't there.
Okay.
So you just refreshed it. That's why you had it. Okay. And next question is from Destroyer 50. Wait, it's like 5 million. Yeah, 5 million. So number one, I'm just gonna ask a question. You answer it, then ask the second one. Okay. So number one, are you ever gonna remove planes from tank RB?
I have answered that question.
Yeah. Well, just in case, we got to read them all, because otherwise, some people will think that we cherry pick stuff, which we don't. Number two, are you ever going to make World War II tanks fight World War II tanks and not 1970s opponents?
No, probably not, because that's World War II is not in historical period is historical events. So the game is about military vehicles, not about
particular wars
or events. So
yeah, that's actually I had major debates with people over that. They really believe that the game's about certain, like it's about Korean War, World War II. I was like, no, it's about tanks and planes and ships. It's
well, we are vehicles are. Of course, the game is inspired by the events. We are making events, historical events, and something like that. But the game can be just focused on the another was focused on one war, or one battle or whatever.
Then again, actually, a lot of World War II tanks were used post-war, just not in conflict, but they were in military service with many
and
countries.
they were in conflict. For example, T-34 was in war conflict. I don't remember last time in the 80s.
The T-34-85s are still used in Syria to this day.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, number 3. Will you ever again make maps that are exclusive to each BR and fit its play style more? Kind of a subjective question there.
Yeah, but it's we have changed that because when we implemented likes and bans, it started to make no sense that not no sense, but less sense, because you have bans and dislikes, and otherwise it doesn't make sense when you do not know what will you meet this game on this BR.
So it's basically just very confusing, and it's a major.
Yeah, so it's still possible, but when you select ban for map that you can't meet in playing on your vehicles, that's something that is maybe you're not anyhow suffering because you ban it and not play it, but.
All right,
but some players wanted the likes and dislikes and bans for maps to play on map that they were not able to meet in the game because of BR. So it's because of that.
Finally, question number 4. Will you ever listen to many pages of threads on the forum about bug reports involving all sorts of vehicles? But isn't that where we get them from all the time?
The last part is answering the first part.
Yeah.
So there are all sorts of vehicles, all sorts of gameplay style, game mods, and we are listening to them, but and we are fixing them. But there are lots of them in lots of different aspects of the game. So sometimes you cannot notice that, or sometimes we cannot fix it, or sometimes we are not having enough time to do that because we are making other fixes. So.
Yeah, that's true. I've been actually telling people that we have dedicated staff just fixing bugs 24/7, basically. And it's like, no, put all people on bug fixing. Stop making new vehicles and maps. Just fix all the bugs. I'm like, it's impossible. We have so many people doing that already.
There are also some. Not all people can fix bugs.
That's true. Yeah, they can only make like models or make maps and stuff, and it just takes dedicated folk for that kind of job. Okay, next question is by G.R. Hood. So Gerhood or German Hood or something. German Hood. That's quite a name. So question number 1: any plans on making Axis less OP? Okay, so that's a good one. OP Axis. When was the last time they were OP? A very subjective question.
Yeah, very subjective question.
Yeah. Okay. Number 2, more World War II stuff. Which actually, I kind of support that question. I like World War II vehicles.
Well, we are making more World War II vehicles. It's maybe some players want only World War II, but most of players like that we're adding new airs.
So yes, we will do more World War vehicles.
We will do.
Next up is flares for current top tier jets. Well,
someday flares will be in the game.
But then again, also the historical thing that is if flares were not available in a vehicle historically, we're not going to add them.
Yeah.
So, number 4, more radar SPAAs with lock-on missiles instead of these mouse-aim nukes.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The Warfounder based on some design pillars, and as always happening with the interesting parts of our life, there are some conflicts between them. One of design pillar is accessibility, the way to play the game without very special training or knowledge or hardware. And another is a realistic simulation, and that means not only of course that all means not only flight model and damage model and so on. That's obviously should be, but also of control vehicle. And as you can see, the first idea of accessibility is in conflict with the make completely realistic in controls. I mean, so yeah, maybe we will change that.
Okay, question number 5. I'm really not sure if I understand it correctly, but anyway, more copy vehicles, for example, UK used a lot of US planes. Germany stole a lot. UK, US, Russian, and French equipment. So basically...
Where's the question?
Okay, so will we have more trophy or captured vehicles for nations? I suppose that's the question.
No, I don't think so, because there are players like them, but we will have more of them, more of trophies. They will be more often seen in the game, and players don't like them. They like to play on the trophy, but not to see others playing on them.
Okay. All right, guys, don't worry. We're going to be answering questions from YouTube and Twitch in just a short little while. We still have a few questions from the website. Remember, you can go to warthunder.com and go to a thread that's called War Thunder CCO Answers Tough Questions. You can leave your question there and just give it a bunch of likes. We're going to be refreshing the page a couple of times more. So if it comes up, we're going to answer it. Okay. So a few more from the same guy. He's really, he's really productive. More actual tech tree vehicles instead of overpriced premiums. I see that question pop up all the time.
Oh, well, I answered them. We are not making, we are also sometimes removing premiums, but we're adding premiums for new, when we add a new tire, we add some premiums for tire before, just to make players who want it or just join the game to skip some progression with basically payment. So most of our vehicles come to tech tree.
Yeah. Okay. And finally, we will see a reworked damage model. For example, some bombers can take anything, well, because they're bombers, while some tanks, I'm looking at you, Verbal and Ostwind, need so many shells, it's insane. Well, personally, I wouldn't call Verbal and Ostwind very tough tanks, which they're not. But anyhow, so
well, it's,
are you happy with the damage model, or do you want to rework this one?
No, we will never be always absolutely happy with the damage model. There are some also, I know, conceptually problems with the making absolutely, accurate because of like a construction damage, for example. It probably can be done, but not in any anyhow closer scale to the War Thunder. So one vehicle can be simulated like that, not tens of vehicles in the battle. So yeah, we know never be, and we are changing it. Not that rare, but
people often forget that the real world is made of molecules and atoms.
Yeah.
Video games are not. They're made of.
Maybe we not get to that to that level, but some even construction things can be
improved.
Can be. I mean, construction damage can be made simulated in the game.
Yeah.
We want, but it's quite. It's not only difficult; it's also requires too much. Calculation, and without visualization it will be even worse, because you will not understand what is happening. So it's also requires.
Okay, we got about 20 minutes left to this live stream. So do you want to keep going with these, or do you want to move on?
Okay, do what you want.
It's just there's so many of them. It's really hard for me to decide, because people will say, "Oh, that asshole, he left out my question."
But I can't answer all of them.
It's impossible. So okay, we're gonna be moving on to let's go. Let's go Twitch. Twitch isn't scrolling as fast as YouTube, because YouTube is just barely recognizable right now. Okay, so by the way, some really good questions here, which are already mirrored in the chat. Okay, so a question I would really want answered is number 21. What is the current situation with the ultra low quality setting? Any progress with unifying it with standard settings? Me, I play with a 4K screen, a huge one, always at ultra high settings and stuff, and sometimes I think that that guy must be playing with ultra low. That's what he can see me better. Is that true or not? At all. So
When was the last time when you play
ultra low?
Yeah.
3 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. So usually people do not understand and think that they are more different from what they are. There are no shadows, for example, but and the minimal visibility, but you can set minimal visibility without ultra low quality settings. So you can disable grass without ultra low qualities, and that's the main, or maybe the only differences that help you to play. Removing shadows not always help you. It also can make it less effective.
Yep.
And yes, we have some. You should understand that our ultra low settings are made for easy support of low tire. Most of them are mobility laptops, netbooks, and things and stuff like that. So, and they're made for them, and they are not going to improve. They can't upgrade. So, making them, like more unified means that we'll drop some players.
Yeah.
So, but time changes. People got new hardware, play less on old hardware. Hardware get broken, they buy new and something like that. So we have plans to improve ultra quality.
Yeah.
I can't say any specific dates, but we have plans.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot for that. And all right, now it's the now time for Twitch. Okay. Wow. Now once I singled out Twitch, now it's scrolling way too fast. Okay. Let's pick something. Okay. That's a good one actually. What's the future of the simulation mode? Wow. That's fast. The game is full of issues: planes strafing the runway, useless AAA, bombers spamming huge FPS drops, and high BR games. They finally fixed the ×2 bomb after 2 years. Okay, so what do you got to say to that?
It's not actually a question.
That's not a question. Yeah, but the future of the sim mode, that's the question.
Okay, that's a question. Simulation mode is not very popular.
Yeah, sadly.
Neither was. So we made it. We were sure that it won't be, and we made it because community asked, and they said that's it's not a problem, but we want to make possible to fight on these vehicles in a simulation mode, even it won't be very popular and so on. So of course times pass, people forget that, and there were some new players are playing it, don't know that others safe about why we need simulation mode. So it's never going to be updated that often than other mods, because basically they are much less player but sometimes it gets some updates, and probably we'll get new updates in the closest future.
Thank you. And there's a question. It's not a very tough one, but I really want to ask it. Will we see door gunners for helicopters? Is it possible? That would be pretty cool, I think.
That's a question about networking code and how to feel it, to make it playable on a lag between players and so on.
But some planes have turrets and ships have turrets and stuff. So
I mean, not multiplayer. I thought you asked.
No. Door gunners for helicopters in multiplayer games. Is that possible?
Probably yes.
So it's not out of the question, guys.
Not out of the question.
Okay. Next up, will we get a polished tech tree? Because that question is asked a lot during live stream.
What's
Polish? Yeah, for Poland.
Well,
Poland, Hungary. Okay, hold on. Let me just give you a whole list. Poland, Hungary, Brazil, Ukraine.
Yeah. Well, we are making tech tree when it will reveal enough vehicles to make sense to progress the whole new tree.
Yeah.
Probably Poland, obviously Hungary and Ukraine do not have enough. Maybe will be someday will be unified European territory. Maybe.
Okay.
We at least discussed it.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Now, another one from the community. Okay, so number one, why are you adding mainly high-ranked and premium vehicles to the game and not developing the main lineups in low and middle ranks? There's still some things that can be added. This kind of harkers back to the BR decompression question.
And and also about models new adding. When we sometimes add in, so they can be added, and we sometimes add them, and we're not saying that we will not.
Okay. Next up is, you always said that you would not sell top-ranked vehicles for real money, but as a result, you have the K50, Hunter, and top-ranked vehicles. How so?
Well, they are not the top tier.
Yeah, because there's going to be something higher than them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're not top tier anymore, guys. Remember, the game progresses. It's an MMO. It's never in a standstill. It's always developing. So whatever was top tier 2 years ago is no longer top tier, basically.
Right.
Okay, number 3 is the economy at high ranks is very punitive. Can you simplify it? So in terms of the repair costs,
well,
shells and stuff.
we are simplifying it sometimes. I mean, not sometimes when we just wake up in the morning and decide to want to simplify it. But on a regular basis, we made new top tires, new vehicles. We on each major update we make like a tweaks for them, and on a regular basis, like once a year, we make a bigger discussion of and usually we change it and simplify it. So.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, finally, number 4. Okay, that's a funny one. Why are you not fixing bugs in the game? Which would kind of answer that. Players themselves regularly making bug reports on the forum, and some of them have been there for a couple of years and still not fixed. Now, what about those long-standing ones?
There are also bugs from alpha version that are not
still not fixed.
Still fixed, and sometimes not because sometimes we do not want to fix them. Sometimes they are not any significant for majority of players. So, the game's very, very big on all terms. So
it's a very complex game.
When you're playing one vehicle and one game mode, you can think that it's this bug it should be fixed because it's the most important that you experienced, or maybe one of the most important. But it's
basically it's a matter of priority.
Yeah, it's a matter of priority. The most priority, of course, is for bugs that are affecting everyone, but we are fixing them. So you get much. It's like a common rule. You have more stability when you are not changing fast.
Yeah.
So.
All right, that's a good one. Okay, number 5. There's been a large imbalance in top-tier aircraft for some time. Some nations have Mach 2 planes, but some of them take ages to be able to fly past Mach 1. Ground vehicles are also quite imbalanced. In other words, adding another M1 Abrams when other nations have little to counter them. What are the plans for them? So it's a twofold question.
Yeah.
Basically, the supersonic jets, and then finally top-tier MBTs.
So the most changes are happening on the top tiers. So we're not trying to to fix everything in terms of balance or like that just after a new vehicle appears, because there will be new vehicles in other countries. People get used to find some tactics and things like that, and also there will be new vehicles. Usually we obviously cannot make vehicles for all countries. I mean, top tier, for example, for all countries at the same time. We have 7 countries, maybe I'm wrong, 8, but so we just cannot make all vehicles for all countries in the same update. So
it's 9 now with Sweden. It's 9.
With Sweden, it's
I actually opened the client and counted. Okay, so it's 9.
We have Sweden now. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so basically just takes time. That comes down to development.
And it's things that changes itself very fast. So I mean, not very fast. It not means in days, but in months or weeks. So we're trying to balance things that obviously have found some homeostasis.
Okay, next up is, all right, there we go, number 6. Why are the repairs on top tanks like the Leopard 2, A5, or Ariete more expensive when compared to low tiers? So the question is why? why top tier tanks are more expensive? Well, naturally, because they're the end game vehicles, basically.
Yeah, so they also have more rewards and
Yeah.
things like so. It's
They're more powerful,
yeah.
and
They also, well, it's not a question that can be answered. Or the answer is obvious, or it requires much time to
Yeah.
explain everything. So.
yeah. So it's okay. When are you going to implement full cross-platform gameplay for PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 4? There's been some development between the Sony and Microsoft in terms
That's
of their,
not a question for us.
yeah. Well, because
basically.
it's their business. It's between them.
Well, it's not. They have policies.
Yeah.
And their policies are not the same policies for all platforms, so they're
Mhm.
different. And the policy is not made for our game; they're made for basically Fortnite.
So some exclusive
yeah,
titles.
So, no. I don't mean that they're exclusive. They are policies for all titles, but
Some of the largest in the world, basically.
but they cannot be applied to when you're talking about Fortnite, for example. There's visual skins,
Yeah.
and some policies are obviously okay, but to not, for example, see the skin on other platform that you get on a but for when you're talking about in-game progression, that's not applicable.
There
So
you go. Okay.
we are working on that. We are working with platform holders. We are working to try to mitigate their policies, and we are trying to mitigate the policies and not make players suffer.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately, platform holders do not care about our players. So.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Next up is number 8. Can we anticipate a balance gap of 0.7 instead of 1.0? I know you answered this question on the Russian live stream, but our viewers here don't speak Russian, so.
In fact, it's the same questions about BR compression or decompression, so it's the same.
Okay. Number 9. Do you have plans to create a tank-only mode, which we already talked about? Okay. Do you have any plans to rebalance the grind by taking into account the number of new top-ranked vehicles?
Yeah, we do it. We just do not do it each major update. We do it like an annually, like in each year.
Yeah. So next question, we already kind of answered. Crafting events have very complicated terms and rules. Why is this? It is required to spend a lot of time grinding parts and blueprints, up to 12 hours a day.
Well,
why so complex? Yeah, because it's meant for people that have lots of free time on their hands.
Maybe we should answer
okay.
YouTube
okay.
or...
All right, you want to do YouTube. Now, the tricky part is to read it. Now, the tricky part is to... Okay, I'm going to try and get something. Okay. How does Gaijin get information? Okay, the non-offensive username asks, how does Gaijin get information for modern tanks with classified armor and penetration and implement them accurately?
Well, that's a tough question.
Secret documents.
Yeah, well, it's a tough question. It's the reason why some vehicles probably will not appear in the game
because of the
closed feature.
Because they're classified.
So they're classified. Some information is public. Some is classified. It's harder to. Sometimes it's hard to get new information.
Okay, next up is what do we have? Okay.
Well, it's really hard.
It's really hard. It's just there's so many questions here. The amount of okay, that's an okay one. The KS Revenger. The amount of units between nations is really unbalanced, with some nations having 6 to 7 competitive vehicles, while other have only 1 to 3. Any are multiples. Okay, are there any kind of solution for that? It's instead of waiting. I mean, just wait, because nations get developed in time and it will get fixed.
Well, there's the common after each update when the country I'm playing on will get the vehicles. We can make them all of them in the same time.
2 more questions, since Kirill's kind of tired already. He has been doing this for 2 hours straight, and I understand this is a tough job, just talking nonstop there. Okay, so 2 more questions. I'll let you pick whatever you want. Is there any particular question that you really wanted at just 2 of them for the last bit?
Well,
any kind that you liked?
Reading.
Yeah, go ahead. So you can pick whatever 2 that you like most.
From the question asked before? Or?
Yeah, just whatever. Community ask questions, website, Twitch, YouTube, just pick whatever you like best. Maybe there was some question that was already there and you kind of noticed but couldn't answer.
Well, in fact, It's hard to. I like the question that I have haven't answered before in the past. So that's the most likely question.
Then
for
I'm
me.
just going to go for these two here. So, are there any plans for improving airfield AA defense facilities against supersonic jets in the top tier air belts? That's a good question there.
Yep.
Okay, there are plans. Can we see more ground attacking ordnance like cluster bombs, napalm, and etc. in the game? That would be pretty cool. Cluster bomb.
Yeah, napalm probably will not appear in the game because it's mostly used against infantry. It's not the case. And so maybe cluster bombs will appear, but the same reason it's not that effective against vehicles.
Cluster bombs will warms any American's heart just instantly. Cluster bombs are good. Are there any plans to improve the clouds? They look really outdated. Nice clouds with global illumination would be great for aircraft.
Well, our clouds are with the global illumination. In fact, so they can be improved. We have plans to improve it. We also improved it in 1.19.1 a bit. So the reason why this looking a bit outdated is mostly again about our low spec PC
users.
Players.
Okay, and finally, one last question.
But we really wanted to improve clouds. The most problem is it can be much easier improved in the tank battles because you're not flying between them.
They're far away.
It's but when you're flying between them, they're also in the same time more important to have them more quality on it. But in the same time, they're the most you see, and the current performance. In fact, what you see in the current game is like a 50% limited by clouds, by rendering skies and clouds. So making them
very super detailed.
Yeah, will make it's not a part of the image. It's the most image you see. So already the most GPU time spent on clouds. So making them more detailed means more time spent on clouds. But we have plans, and we want to make some changes that can be done, and other changes will require more performance.
Okay, and finally, one last question is a very hot one. Very often asked during Thunder streams. Why are respawn zones in many locations very poorly protected, or in fact they're not really protected at all, where you can be killed directly on the respawn point? So basically spawn camping.
That's not good that it's happening, but the reason is for that is I'm not protecting it and defending the idea. We are fighting against this, but the reason why you see it, because if you make the all maps with equally protected in spawns, that means that maps will lose some part of their identity. When you're playing on the fields, there should be fields, not a city or rocks. So
it's very true. And I guess that's it for today. But remember, guys, this is not the last time we're doing this. This is our pretty much our first attempt at
not first, but first for a long time.
First in a long time, attempt to answer some of your tough questions. If the feedback is going to be good enough, and I sure will, we're going to be doing this once more, and maybe more and more and more times. So it's up to you to decide, guys. Get more questions coming in. We're going to be siphoning through them and answering them in a bunch next time. Thank you so much for your time, Kirill.
Thank you guys for asking questions. Thank you guys for believing us and playing our game.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I'm going to be seeing you guys in Thunder Stream sometime later. Have a good one.